session. All right, so welcome everyone once again to UGBS. Please, what's your course code? This is a pop quiz. What's your course code? UGBS what?
703.
703. Thank God. Thank God. So welcome once again to UGBS 703 Advanced Quantitative Methods, right? There's sessions on structural equation modeling using SPSS and Amos. So today we are going to pick up from where we left off. Last week we did the theoretical aspects of the course to be able to give us a foundation into SEM, specifically covariance and variance-based SEM, and to appreciate the fact that we are doing covariance-based SEM and the reason why we are doing covariance-based SEM. And then we also did some foundational discussions on the approach to SEM that we will be using when it comes to Amos. So that will be the two-step approach. Please, who remembers who propounded the two-step approach to SEM? Who propounded the two-step approach to SEM? Who propounded it? Hello? Should I name names? Who propounded the two-step approach to SEM, please? Edmond, they do. Two-step approach to SEM, who propounded it? Edmond, are you there or you are ghosting? Edmond, your mic is on, but we cannot hear you. Edmond, I think you need to work on your sound. All right, please can someone quickly tell us who propounded the two-step approach to SEM? Because that's what we are going to be using today and then the remainder of our session. So if we don't know it, then we are in trouble. Please, who propounded the two-step approach?
Anderson and Jevin.
What year?
1988.
Thank you very much. So we are going to be basically using the two-step approach to SEM, right? To learn how to perform structural equation modeling in Amos. And then we will go ahead after we have done that and tested the direct relationships to perform a mediation analysis using the bootstrap approach, right? Also in Amos. So today we are going to start from the basics, building from the ground up. Now I want to know, are some people going to be practicing alongside the demonstration I'll be making? Will people be practicing alongside?
Yes. What's the best approach to learn?
I personally learn by doing.
Okay.
And yes, and I will feel lazy to go back and watch everything and then do it again, right? And then learn from scratch.
Okay.
But if I do it while I'm learning and then I go back and then I revise using the video, it will be easier for me. But that's like a personal preference. Okay. So it depends on you and how you learn. So
okay,
if there are going to be people going alongside, then I'll be in it with you. Please, does it make sense?
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, so we'll be doing it
Makes
in
sense.
partnership. Good. So we'll be doing it in partnership. Okay. All right. So quickly, let me share the screen with you so that we can be able to see the model we are working with. Now, this model we are going to use in testing is based on the data that I sent you. So if you have the SPSS file, then you have the data that we are going to be using. So that SPSS file contains data that has to do with consumers' repurchase intentions online, right? So let me quickly give you the background of the study. The study was to be able to find out what factors were important to consumers and played a contributory role in determining whether or not they will come back and purchase from an online retailer. So there were a number of factors that were identified in the literature to contribute to a customer coming back to buy from the same online retailer, right? And these come in three forms. The first one being order return and handling policies, right? So order return and handling policy is basically about the retailer's policy on whether customers can return orders when they receive them and they are defective, or they do not want them, or they have a problem with them and they want to send them back. And then timeliness of delivery is just what it says, like how timely was the delivery made? Did it come immediately? Was it on time, or was it delayed? And then the delivery condition, sometimes the item will come on time and the company may have a good return policy, but the condition in which the item will get to you, you will not like it. And all these things contribute to whether or not you as a customer will decide to go back and purchase from a retailer. Please, does it make sense?
Yes, please.
Good. Now we are saying that based on this model, these three factors have a direct effect on online repurchase intention. However, the relationship between these three factors and online repurchase intention is mediated by the issues of security and privacy, right? Which is very important when it comes to transacting online, given that a lot of personal and confidential information is exchanged in online transactions, including payment information, names, dates of birth, among other information that people would like to keep private and confidential. So that is why we have security and privacy as our mediator. So this is the model that we will be testing essentially. We'll first test the direct relationships, and then we will test the mediating relationship that security and privacy has in terms of the direct effect of order return and handling policies, timeliness of delivery, and delivery condition on online repurchase intention. Please, does it make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Now with SIM, even though every variable has a unique role that they are playing, be it an independent variable or a mediating variable or a moderating variable or a control variable, in the beginning, right, as long as we are dealing with continuous variables, they are all treated the same, because our aim in the beginning is to prove the reliability and validity of the constructs and measures that we are using before we can go ahead and run any form of higher order analysis. So we begin from the basics, right, by testing for the internal consistency / reliability, and then the validity in terms of convergence and discriminant validity. And once we are able to confirm the constructs and the measures that make up these constructs, we will be able to now go ahead and test direct relationships. So we are going to start from the bottom and then we'll build up. And therefore we will begin in SPSS with the data set. These are we okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Yes, doc.
Okay, so I'm in SPSS now. Please, can we see the SPSS on my screen?
Yes.
All right. So when you go to the variable view, right? Please go to the variable view in SPSS. You can see that the variables have been represented by specific variable names, right? And then we have the type of variable, and then we have the width, the decimals, then the label, and then the values, right? So here we are assuming that you have already designed your questionnaire, you've collected your data, and you have entered it successfully into SPSS. So here the data contained includes data on the age group of the respondents, their gender, their frequency of shopping online, the amount of money that they spent, the mode of payments that they use, their comfort with the mode of payment, as well as the type of products that they usually buy when they shop online. And then we have the individual items that measure each of the variables that we have in the framework we just saw. So we are going to take each of the variables and I'm going to show you the measures for each of the variables in this data set. So the first variable we have here is order return and handling policy, which is represented by OR1 to OR5. Please, can we see that?
Yes, please. Yes,
Good.
please.
Yes.
And then we have each of the statements measuring them in the label column. The same for SP. So SP here stands for security and privacy. So security and privacy is represented by SP1 to SP6. And then we have timeliness of delivery represented by TD1 to TD4. And then we have delivery condition represented by DC1 to DC5. And then online repurchase intention represented by RI1 to RI4. And all the individual statements that were used in the questionnaire are presented in the label column. Please, can we see that?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
And all of these are measured on a 5-point Likert scale, ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. Please, do we see that as well?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Good.
Yes.
Now, before we proceed and do anything, okay, there are some hands up. Abdul Karimu, please speak up.
Yes, I want to understand the OR1 to OR5. Is it that OR1 is the response from respondent number 1?
No. OR1 captures all the responses with regard to the first statement under OR. So when you go to data view, you will see that the columns have been labeled as such. Do you see OR1?
Yes, I see.
So yes, that's a particular measurement item under the variable order, return, and handling. Okay. So these are all the responses under that particular item, measuring order, return, and handling. Does it make sense?
Yes, yes, yes.
Good. Good. All right.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, please. I had power failure, so I missed some of your presentation. If you can kindly go back, I'll be glad. From where you said you sent us the data.
Wow. That's so far back. Okay. All right. So I was saying that the analysis that we are going to run today will be based on this framework. Let me share the framework once again. And I explained the variables in the framework, right, by showing us the different constructs. And I gave the premise that this framework is measuring the phenomenon of how customers go online to shop from a particular retailer. And we are trying to understand the factors that influence their decision to come back online and buy from the same retailer. So we looked at 3 independent factors that could directly influence their repurchase intention from this online retailer. And they included order, return, and handling policies, timeliness of delivery, and delivery condition. And based on the framework, we are also saying that there is a mediating factor that can influence the relationship between these 3 factors and online repurchase intention, which is security and privacy. So throughout our practical demonstrations, we are going to demonstrate the direct effects of these 3 variables on repurchase intention and how to test for them using SEM in Amos. And then we will go ahead and use Bootstrap to test a mediation involving security and privacy as our mediator in the relationship between these 3 factors and repurchase intention. So from there, I took us to the SPSS data set I shared with you to explain to you which of the items in this data set capture the construct of the variables that we have in the framework, right? And it's good you've even sent us back because it seems the scale is not 5 points, it's 7 points. But still ranging from strongly agree to strongly disagree. Please, are we okay? So what I said was that OR1 to OR5 represents the construct of order, return, and handling policies. And these OR1 to OR5 represents the individual measurement items that were placed in the questionnaire to measure the construct of order, return, and handling. The same goes for timeliness of delivery, which is measured using TD1 to TD4. And then delivery condition, which is measured using DC1 to DC5, right? And then security and privacy, which is measured using SP1 to SP6. And then repurchase intention, which is measured using RI1 to RI4. I also mentioned that in the label column, we have the actual statements that are used in measuring these constructs. So the OR1 to OR5 represents specific individual measurement items. And all of these are measured on a 7-point Likert scale, ranging from 1 strongly disagree to 7 strongly agree. Please, does it make sense now?
Yes, it makes sense, but I'm wondering which sheet you are on. But I'm not seeing this.
I'm in SPSS. Please, can we see the SPSS like interface?
Yes.
Yes. I have an interface that has all these things on the horizontal, the age and the OR.
Yeah, so I've scrolled down basically, and I've gone to the extreme right.
No, he should check the variable view. I think he's looking at the data view.
Oh, okay, so yeah, go to variable view. Sorry, I also mentioned initially that we should, everyone should go to the variable view. So look at the bottom of the screen. You see data view and variable view. There are two tabs. Click on the variable view. Have you done that? Charles?
Hi.
Have you clicked on the variable view?
Yes, I have.
Good. So now do you see the statements and the OR1 to OR5 and SP1 to SP6? Good. Okay, now we are on the same page.
Thank you.
Glory to God. You're welcome, Charles. Okay. Don't worry, it's totally normal. Okay, so we are all on the same page. Good. So before we go ahead and compute anything, Amos is designed such that it does not read names, it reads labels. I take it again. Amos is designed such that it does not read names, it reads labels. So when you go ahead and you do not replace the labels and then you use them as they are in terms of sentences, when you export your initial output into Amos for further analysis, it will not show the variable names, it will show the labels in terms of the sentences. And it will make your work very clumsy and cluttered, right? So to save us from doing that, before you run any preliminary analysis on the data set for onward forwarding to Amos, you have to replace the label names. Martin, your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no, please, you omitted the SP1 to SP5, the SP6.
Sorry, SP1 to SP6 represents security and privacy, which is our mediator.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I mentioned that in the beginning, all the variables are handled together, being the continuous variables. That's another thing you need to learn. In your questionnaire, you may have a categorical variable that is representing one of your independent variables. We cannot compute reliability and validity for categorical variables, so we do not include them in the initial assessments. We rather include them after the measurement phase, at the structural phase, right? And I'll explain that to you as we go along. We will throw in a categorical variable for you to see what I'm talking about. But for now, we are only dealing with continuous variables.
Thank you.
Good. So for now, we are only dealing with continuous variables, which are the ones we can compute reliability and validity for. So like I was saying, we need to replace the labels. Otherwise, the names of the variables will not appear. It is the labels in terms of sentence form that will appear, and it will make our model look very clumsy. So what we do is that we create a clone, right, or a replica of the data set by doing the following. You see where all the individual item codes are for the items that represent each construct. We copy that whole section, right? And we use it to replace their labels here. Please, do you see that?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Now don't click save just yet, because you need both of them. In building the tables after your measurement phase, right? You need the actual labels to put into the table that you're going to build. So you don't want to lose the labels. So you create a clone, right? By clicking file and save as, and then creating this as a version of your original file, right? So you see that here I've already saved that version. I've named it online repurchase, shopping repurchase intention clone. Please, are you with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
So when you open the clone, let me quickly share my clone with you because I don't want to lose my data in this one. When you open the clone, sorry, a moment. Let me just save this as the clone because I can't find the other one. Okay, so file and then save as. So you need to save it in a location where you know you can easily find it when you're looking for it. That's another thing. If you are not able to save it in a place where you will easily locate it, it will become difficult for you to find once you have saved it and you need it to be able to perform your analysis. Please, I hope that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. So very quickly, let's go to our clone. So please, have you all saved your clone now?
Yes, please.
Okay.
No.
Hey, okay,
No.
please quickly save your clone so that we can move.
Should we copy and paste as you did?
Yes, copy and paste, and then go to File at the top left-hand corner, click File, click Save As, and then rename it. I prefer to just add clone to the original name so that I'll know that this is the clone of the original that I had. It makes it easier for me to find. Are we there? Are we there?
Oh,
Yes, I'm here.
for some strange reason, when I click on the paste, the cursor keeps blinking. So it doesn't allow me to paste it.
Are you sure? It's supposed to be straightforward. I just did it.
Yes, I saw what you did. It should
Are
be
you
straight, but
selecting
in
the
my case,
whole
it's not.
thing? Are you selecting the whole
Yes,
thing?
yes, from row number 8 to 31.
Yes. So select and then copy, and then select the whole thing there and just do Control V. Don't use the mouse. Do Control V. Has it pasted?
Once I click on the cell, the cursor starts highlight, so it pastes in the cell. It doesn't paste in the rows.
No, that's not supposed to be it. Just reverse what you did. Just undo. Undo, and if possible, close and reopen the document.
Okay.
And then start over. So in starting over, just copy in that column, come to the labels column, highlight what you have to highlight, and then click Control V. Just click and drag down to highlight, and then do Control V. It will automatically paste.
Okay.
Okay, please, are we good now?
Yes, please.
All right, so now that you have pasted, you have a clone document that you can use to be able to run your preliminary analysis in Amos, right? Which we refer to as model specification, because at that point we are specifying our measurement model. So in doing so, in installing the Amos, you are supposed to have installed some plugins, right? Did you install the plugins with your Amos? Did you?
Don't know.
Please, we don't know.
No, we don't know. Please,
So there are
Yes.
several plugins you have to install with your Amos software to get it to function optimally. And one of the basic plugins that you really need is the pattern matrix model builder, right? Which is a plugin that you need to create your model. Otherwise, you will have to build the entire model by hand, manually. So since most of you don't have the plugin, we are going to build the model manually, right? Yes, with the
Okay.
plugin, it would have been
Can you give
very
us the name
easy.
of the plugin again?
Pattern
Can you give us the
matrix,
name of the plugin?
pattern matrix model builder, right? So let me show you how it should have been with the plugin first. And then since most of us do not have the plugin, we will learn how to draw from scratch. Our variables are not many, so we can quickly draw and then go ahead, right? So assuming you had the plugin, all we would have just done is extracted the pattern matrix model from SPSS. Now this is the process, right? We go to Analyze, Dimension Reduction. Then we click Factor, right? And here we put all the variables that are of interest to us in terms of the measures from OR1 all the way down to RI4 into the variable box. So we click from here and then we go in here like that. So we click the first one, we hold down Shift, we click the last one, it will select it all, then we move it into the variables box. Then we click on Descriptives, right? And here we want the KMO and Bartlett's test of sphericity. We also want the significance levels and we want the coefficients. Then we click Continue. The beauty about SPSS is that a lot of the basic requirements come already pre-checked. So you just check what you need in addition, and then you leave the rest alone. Now, after descriptives, we go to extraction, right? And then because we are dealing with Amos, which uses maximum likelihood estimation, we want to extract using a maximum likelihood extraction so that it will be very easy for Amos to interpret the output when we post it in there. So we will click maximum likelihood under the method of extraction. And then we will leave it at based on eigen values greater than 1. And then we will click continue. Then under rotation, again, because we want optimal outputs and we have selected maximum likelihood, it is best for us to go with a Promax rotation. So we will click Promax. Once we click it, everything else comes pre-checked by SPSS, right? Being the good friend that he is. So we leave everything else alone and we click continue, right? Under scores, it's very optional. We don't need anything from here as of now. And under options, you can decide to suppress the small coefficients, right? So to tell your software that you don't want to see coefficients that are perhaps less than 0.5, because we talked about the fact that factor loadings have to be 0.5 and above, right? So you can suppress it and say if it's below 0.5, you don't want to see it. But here it's of no consequence. Whether we see below 0.5 or we don't see the below 0.5, so it will still work. So I don't check anything here. Just click continue and click OK. Now, the moment you click OK, the output window will open, right? Let me quickly share the output window with you. So this is the output window. Please, can we see it?
Yes.
No, Doc, please, I'm lost.
Where did you get lost?
Yeah, where do you even get to the factor analysis to send the data?
So analyze, right? Dimension reduction factor, right? Then we select all the items measuring each of our constructs. Then we put them in the variables box. Did you get that part?
No.
You didn't.
Yes.
Okay, so basically these were previously in this box. They were here. Do you see them?
Okay. Yes.
So we select them and we move them into the variables box like that. Do you see that?
Okay. Yes.
Then we go to descriptives. Do you see it?
Yes.
And under descriptives, we check coefficients, significance levels, and KMO and Bartlett's test of sphericity. Have you got that?
Yes.
Then you click continue. Then you come to extraction. Under extraction, we click the down arrow and we select maximum likelihood. Right? Then we leave everything else as is and we click continue. Are you there?
Okay. Yes, please.
Then we come to rotation. And under rotation, we check under the method here in the rotation box, we check Promax. Once you check Promax, every other thing comes pre-selected. So we don't touch it. We just click continue. Are you there?
Yes, please.
Good. And I said under scores and options, those ones are optional and they will not really affect the outcome of what we are doing. So we usually don't check anything under scores and options. Are you there?
Yes.
Good. Then we click OK. So once you click OK, it opens the output window to give you the output of what you just ran. You have the output window now.
Yes. Yes, I have.
Hello, Doc.
Yes. Who do we have?
Forgive me. Under with the descriptives, what are you supposed to check?
Which descriptives?
When you
When you select
so
the
we
measures.
are checking coefficients.
Okay.
KMO and Bartlett's test of sphericity.
Okay.
And then there's a third one. Please hold on a moment. Let me quickly. Yeah, and then significance levels.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So once we click OK and the output window opens, we can see some outputs in the extreme left corner, right? It starts with output and you see log, then you see factor analysis. Do you see that?
Yes, please.
Good. And then we have title, notes, correlation matrix, KMO and Bartlett's, communalities, total variance explained, factor matrix, goodness of fit test, and then we have
Goodness
what?
of fit.
Then we have what? Pattern
Pattern matrix.
matrix. Good. Does it sound
Matrix,
familiar?
yes.
It has a similar name to the plugin I was talking about, which is called the Pattern Matrix Model Builder. So we need that table. So you click on the pattern matrix table and it shows you the matrix. Do you see it? Okay,
Yes.
there's a hand up. Ernestina,
Yes, please.
please come in. Ernestina, go ahead.
Yes, please, you are moving a little bit fast for me, so I'm not able to get the explanation. So if you could help a little.
Where have you gotten lost?
Doc, please.
Don't say the whole show. Otherwise, people will come after you. People will come after you. So which part, Ernestina?
Okay, no, I was following, but I just got lost all of a sudden. So maybe if you can reduce your pace a little bit for me.
Okay, but are you at par with us now? Edward, under extract
No, please. No,
maximum
please.
likelihood. Ernestina, so where are you now?
Yes, Doc.
Where are you now?
Actually, I was told in the data. So I don't want to take you back, but I just wanted to reduce it a little bit for me.
So I should go slower.
A little, just a little bit.
And continue from where I am. Okay, our winnings
Yes,
has been
please.
with you. Okay, I'll slow down, but that means it will take forever. Your classmates will be beating you in their heads. But don't worry, we will get there.
Thank you very much, Doc.
You're welcome. Okay. Please, who spoke?
Resta, Doc.
Resta, what did you say?
I mean, Ernestina just spoke our mind.
She just spoke your mind and you didn't say anything.
I tried, but you didn't hear me, Doc.
Okay. All right. So should we continue from where we have reached, or you want us to go back again?
Let's continue, Doc. Let's continue.
Go back. Go back.
Let's continue about the pace.
Okay, so let's continue. So, like I said, okay, sorry. All right, so let's go. Portia, your hand is up. Portia, please speak so that we can quickly go back and then we'll take it from here. Then I can slow it down for you guys.
No, please. For me, I'm lost completely. Like, I'm not getting anything.
Okay, so hold on. I'm going back. Are you okay? I'm going back. All right. All right. Good. So we'll take it slow. Okay. Just be calm. You'll get it. Okay. So here we are. We are back in our data set, right? Please, can we see it? We are back in our data set. Now, what I said was that, assuming you were using a plugin, you need to extract what we call the pattern matrix to put in that plugin called the Pattern Matrix Model Builder to automate the process of creating the measurement model. However, if you do not have the Pattern Matrix Model Builder, which is a plugin that you install into Amos separately, then you have to build the model manually. So what I said was that I'm going to teach you how to use the pattern matrix to automatically create the measurement model. And then I'm also going to teach you how to build the model from scratch using the tabs and the tools in Amos. So let's first start with the pattern matrix model builder option, right? So we need to extract the pattern matrix from SPSS. And that is what we are going to put into the pattern matrix model in Amos to build our measurement model. So this is how we get our pattern matrix. We first of all go to Analyze. Then we scroll down to Dimension Reduction. Please, we are in SPSS, Charles. That's the one that is on the screen. And please, for those of you who are still struggling, please get my book, right? All that I'm telling you is in it, step by step, for you to be able to take your time and read and do the same thing, right? So I'm taking you through it. But in the event that you want to remember and you want to have it at your fingertips, kindly get the book and use it to practice. So we go to dimension reduction under analyze, then we click factor. This is everyone here. Ernestina, are you there? Portia, are you there?
Yes, we are here.
You have all reached here.
Yeah.
We thank God. Now, in terms of the variables, when you get in there, you see that all these variables are in this box to your extreme left. Do you see that? Starting from what is your age all the way down to RI4. Can you see it? Please, can you see that?
Yes, please.
Good.
Yes, please.
Now we are going to move the individual items that measure each of the variables into this box that has been labeled variables here. So what we do is we select all the individual measurement items, starting from OR1 all the way to RI4. Please, do we see that?
Yes, madam.
So I'm selecting them, right? So the way to select is to click on the first one, scroll down, hold down the shift key on your keyboard and click the last one and it will select everything. Then you click on this arrow pointing to the right and it will move them all into the variables box. Please, are we there?
Yep.
Yes.
Portia, Ernestina, ladies, are you there?
We are here.
Have you reached? Have you put the items in the variable box?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, once we have done that, we now need to tell SPSS what kind of analysis we want it to run on the data we have put in the variable box. So we start from descriptives. Under descriptives, we check coefficients. We check significance levels. And then we check KMO and Bartlett's test of sphericity. Please, are we there?
Yes.
Then we click continue.
Check.
Have we all done that? Good. Then we go to extraction. Under extraction, we see method, right? We click the drop down arrow. Initially, you will see principal components there. Click the drop down arrow and scroll through the options. You will see there's an option called maximum likelihood.
Yeah.
That's the one you are to select because Amos best understands the language of maximum likelihood. So you click maximum likelihood. And you see that SPSS, being the darling that it is, has already pre-checked a lot of the things for us, basically. So we do not check anything else and we click continue. Please, are we all there?
Yes, please.
Yes, Doc.
Then we go to rotation. Under rotation, we are interested in Promax rotation, which is what will help us get the best output out of our maximum likelihood estimation. So once you click Promax, you will see that it will unblock the other options and they would have been pre-checked. You see rotator solution has been already checked. And then the maximum iterations for convergence is also already there. Don't touch anything else. Just click Promax and then go and click continue. Please, are we all there?
Yeah.
Ladies, are you all there?
Yes, yes, we are.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the remainder being scores and options, we don't usually check anything under them because there's nothing there that will significantly influence what we are subsequently going to use the pattern matrix table for. So we ignore them and then we come and click OK. Now, as soon as you click OK, the output window will open. Please click OK. And the moment you do so, you will see this output window. Are we there?
Yes, Doc.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Ladies, I can't hear you.
Doc, we are here.
Good. All right. So now that we are here, we are looking for the pattern matrix, right? So we look at the options in the left side of the window. You see a list of options. You see factor analysis, title, notes, correlation matrix, KMO, all the way down to factor correlation matrix. We are looking for pattern matrix. So when you see pattern matrix, click on it. When you click on it, the pattern matrix table will appear before you. Have you seen that?
Yes, Doc.
Good. Now, once you do that, right click and copy. Have you done that? When you right click and you click copy, it will look like nothing has happened. Don't worry, it has copied. Right? So you right click and copy, and then you go to Amos. So once you have copied that, you need to leave that window and go and open your Amos window. So here I'm taking us to Amos. So now we are in Amos. Please, can we see the Amos interface? This is what the Amos interface looks like.
Yeah, yes, Doc.
Yes,
We can
Doc.
see it.
Okay.
We format the character.
Now, when you are in Amos, you need to be able to tell. Hello, did someone say something?
Yeah, Doc, I'm not there yet. How do I get the Amos?
Charles, don't you have it installed?
Please, this is not Charles.
Oh, sorry. Please, who is it?
This is Edward.
Edward, don't you have it installed?
I have it, but
if it's installed, you are looking for some, is it green or turquoise? A turquoise circle with arrows and smaller circles under it. If it's not on your task bar, then go to the search box in your laptop or computer and type in Amos. It will pull it up.
Okay, all right.
Doc, the challenge is flipping through the screens. By the time one comes back, you are gone.
Oh, come on, I've been waiting here since.
No, especially
I've been
waiting
here for you. I just said open your Amos window and I literally stopped.
No, I have a unique challenges, especially the power keeps tripping and it takes time for the wireless to set up. So I don't want to delay the class. If I use it, I think I'll have
for
to.
you guys. Just open your Amos. Open, okay. Open, please. Who has been able to open their Amos?
Me.
Okay, please use your reactions and let me see how many hands. Okay, 6, 8. All right, ladies, have you been able to open your Amos?
Yes,
please. Okay, so now that we are in Amos, we need to tell Amos which data set we are working with, so that Amos can read from that data set to run the analysis we tell it to run, right? So you remember the clone we created? We have to go and import it into Amos. So this is how we do it. Do you see the left side, extreme left side of the window? We have different tabs there. Do you see? Good. Now come to this tab. It looks like some lottery paper.
Yeah.
Please, have we seen it?
Yes.
Yes, Doc.
Yes.
Good. When you hover over it, it says select data file. Do you see that?
Yes.
Click on it. When you click on it, it will open a window that says data files.
Exactly.
Are we there?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Once you do so, you have to go and find the data file wherever you stored it. That's why I said put it in a place where you know you can easily find. Right? So we are going to import that data set into Amos. So you can double click where they have the group number 1, and it will open a window into your computer for you to go and look for the data file. Are you there?
Mine is not giving me that small box.
Are you sure? Click on it.
Please.
Click on it. If it's not responding, close Amos and open again.
I have it now.
Good. Amos is a software. It is allowed to have off days. And you will see a lot of that, but don't be discouraged. All you have to do is to just restart it and it will be back online. So once you click it, in the data files box, you see group number 1 and then working in those greater than less than brackets. Click on that. It will open a file that takes you to your PC for you to go and find where you save that data set. So we are going to look for it. Mine is in SEM demonstration. So it's here, I found it. Online shopping repurchase intention clone. Once you see the data set, you click on it and then you click open. Are we all there? I haven't clicked mine yet. I'm waiting for you.
Yes, Doc.
So when you click on it, the name appears in the file name bar, right? Then you click open. As soon as you click open, the name of your data set will appear instead of the working in that bracket. Do you see it?
Yes, please.
And it tells you the sample size under the N on the extreme right. Do you see?
221.
Good. So if you had missing data, you will see that it will show you the number minus the missing data over the total. So for instance, if we had one missing data, it will say 220 over 221. Does it make sense?
Okay, Doc, yes.
Good. So now that you have imported the data set, you click OK. Are you there?
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc.
Good. Now that you have clicked OK, remember the pattern matrix model we copied. It's still in our clipboard. We are going to enter it into the pattern matrix model builder, which we will find under plugins. So let's go and find the pattern matrix model builder. You see the options up there in the top corner of the window. We have file, edit, view, diagram, analyze, tools, and then plugins. Do you see that?
Yes.
Yes, Doc.
So click plugins, you see a drop down, right? And then you will find the pattern matrix model builder there. And then you click on it. When you click on it, a huge window will open that says pattern matrix input. Have we found the plugins tab? So at this point, if you haven't installed the plugin, when you click on the plugins tab, you will not find it there.
Yes, Doc. We don't have the plugins.
Okay. So from here on, you have to be going along with me. Are we okay?
Yes. We have some of us.
Oh, follow. Once the video will be made available,
Please,
we
it
can
will be.
watch it. Yeah.
Please, it will be. Get the video, get my book, and you will be fine.
That's fine. That's fine.
Good. So when the pattern matrix input window opens, remember the pattern matrix we copied. This is where we are going to paste it. So we right click in the window and we paste. As soon as we paste, you see the model will appear. The table will appear in that window. Then we click create diagram. As soon as you click create diagram, Amos will get to work creating the diagram. Now this will take some time, right? So don't get impatient. The moment it is done, the basic measurement model will appear. Do you see that?
Yes, Doc.
Good.
Yes, yes. That's fine.
So this is the automated way of creating the pattern matrix model, right? So when it does this, you have to go ahead and name the variables. Now, because this data is a very good data set, everything has been neatly arranged because the measures are strong measures, right? It's data that I'm actually using for my research. So please, nobody should go and use it anywhere. So,
noted.
Well noted.
So because the measures are all very strong measures, they all loaded perfectly under each of the variables. But in the event that it was bad data and some measures were not strong measures of the variables, you see that sometimes there'll be mix and match, right? But this one, thankfully, has been very well organized for us. So we now have to name the constructs that these individual items measure. So SP1 to 6 will measure what construct? It measures what construct?
Privacy and security.
Good. So we double click on it. Then we come to the variable name in the object properties window. We remove the one and then we enter the correct name. Usually if you write the full name, it will not fit. So you need to use a pseudonym. So I will do sec PRI, right, to represent security and privacy. Then I close the window. And then I'm going to do the same for all the others, right? So I'm going to do the same for this one, which is order return. So I'm going to name it ORDREPO, order return policy, right? And this one is repurchase intention. So I'm going to name it repurchase intention, or REPINT, right? And then this one is timeliness of delivery. So I'm going to name it TIM, DEL, right? And I'll close it. And then the last one is delivery condition. So I'm going to name it DEL con, like that. So please, can you see that I have named all the individual items with the constructs that they actually measure? Please, can we see that?
Yes, please.
Good. So I'll go ahead and save this, because Amos does not do very well with pressure. It needs to think and process. So at every stage, you need to be making sure that you are saving and giving Amos the opportunity to digest what you have told it so that it can refresh, right? So I have to save this. And to do this, I will go to File and then Save As, right? And then you determine where you want to save it. So I personally have a folder I want to save it in, which is this one. So I'm going to save it as CFA Model 1. And then I'll click Save. Oh yeah, those who don't have the plugins, I'm going to show you how to build it manually. So Awini, just hold on for me 2 seconds. So once I save it, I can close it, and then I can reopen it later on to run further analysis. Please, does it make sense?
Yes, Doc.
Good. Now, for those who don't have the plugins, let's do the manual route, right? So I'm opening a fresh Amos interface to help you do the manual building. Gabriel, your hand is still up. Do you have a question or you are good? Okay.
Sorry, it was an old hand, yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm sharing the screen now with a fresh Amos interface. Please, do we see it?
Yes, Doc.
Now, just like we did for the other one, we need to tell Amos which data sets to read from. So you remember how we did that?
Yeah.
We went to the Lotto paper, the select data file tab, and we clicked on it, right? Then we double clicked the group number 1. Then it took us to where the data sets were, and we clicked on the clone that we created. Then we click open. Then we click OK. Now the data set is registered, right?
Yeah.
Good. Please hold on a moment for me. All right, so it's in there. Please, can we see the Amos screen? I think, okay, it's here.
Yes.
So we click OK, right? Now, do you see the tabs that I'm hovering over? You see there's a tab that says title.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, next to it, you will see list of variables in model. Do you see that?
Yes.
The turquoise one. Now move on to the next one, the black and white one. It says list variables in what? Data set. Click on it. As soon as you do, what happens? It shows you all the variables in the data set. Do you see it?
Yes.
Good. Now, based on our framework, how many individual constructs do we have? We have online repurchase intention, security and privacy, order return policy, timeliness of delivery, right? And then delivery condition. So that makes how many?
5.
5. So we are going to draw 5 variables, right? Just stay with me, okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, to be able to ensure that you have enough working space to draw your variables, you can change the orientation and the size of the paper in Amos, right? So to do that, we go to View. You see the top of the page where we have File, Edit.
Yes.
You see that?
Yes.
We go to view. Then the first option, interface properties. Click on that. Has the interface properties window opened?
Yes.
What do you see?
Accessibility, page layout,
syntax.
Good. Now look down to paper size. Do you see paper size?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Good.
Yes.
Click the down arrow and select the paper size that you want. So do you want landscape or portrait in A4, A5, or A6? I usually work in A4. So we can do portrait A4 because the measurement model comes in an elongated form, right? Is it vertically? So we need A4 size paper. So you click portrait A4 and then you close the window.
Okay, so Doc, please, the portrait A4 is the portrait letter. Is it the portrait letter? The
Yes.
portrait A4. Is it the portrait letter?
It's not letter. Letter size is different from A4 size. You know that, right?
Yes, I'm not seeing the portrait A4.
It's there.
You should scroll up.
Scroll up.
Scroll up.
Scroll up.
Okay.
Use the arrows.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay, thank you.
So portrait A4. So that means your paper size is now A4 size, right? Now you have a good amount of space to do your drawing. So we are basically going to use the oval and then that diagram next to the oval to do the drawing. Now first we'll start by creating one oval with the drawing and then we will duplicate it. Okay. So click on the oval, right? When you click on it, you come to your interface and then you hold down your mouse like you are drawing, like you are using a pencil, right? Only you are using your mouse. So you click on it and drag and it will create the shape. Do you see that?
Yes.
And you can change the size of the shape. You just have to be able to select it, right? So when you select it, you can change its width or breadth using the change the shape of objects tab. Do you see the change the shape of objects, the one I'm hovering over? That square with the 4 arrows protruding. Good. So I can use that to either increase the size of the shape or make it smaller or make it longer or make it wider. Please, you see?
Yes, Doc.
Good. So we have our shape, right? And wherever it is on the screen, you can move it around using the red car. Do you see the red car?
Yeah.
Good. So you click on the red car, you come and click on the shape, and you can move it anywhere around the screen. Are you there? Are we okay? Are we okay?
Yes, yeah. Thank you.
All right. So now that we have done that, we need to be able to represent the individual measurement items, right? So for all our measurement items, the variable with the largest number of measurement items is security and privacy, which has 6. So to be able to replicate, we need to first start with the one that has the largest item so that we can be able to ensure that we have enough for each of the other variables. So we are going to indicate 5 measurement items on this particular construct. And for that, we will use the shape that is next to the oval. Please, do we see it?
Yes, Doc.
So we click on the shape and then we come and click on the oval that we have a certain number of times, depending on the number of individual items that we want. So here we are looking for 6 items. So we click 6 times, right? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are we there?
Yeah.
Are we there?
Yes.
Yes, Doc.
Good.
Yes.
Now you see for now, they are all facing upwards. But in the one that we built using the pattern matrix, they were on the left side. Do you remember?
Yes, Doc.
So we have to move them to the left side. And how do we do that? by using that circle. You see that red arrow that is moving in a circle?
Yes.
When you hover over it, it says rotate the indicators of a latent variable. Click on it and come and click on the shape. It will rotate them to the position you want, right? So I'm rotating now. You see that?
Yes.
Please, do we see it?
Yes.
Yes, Doc.
Good. So now we have one of our factors, right? But we are supposed to have 5 individual constructs, right? Or variables. So we have to duplicate this to create the 5. And this is how we do it. We select the entire thing, right? By using the hand that is closed as a fist. Please, do we see it?
Yes.
So when you click on it, right? Sorry, the hand that is open with all the fingers. That's the one we use to select everything. So the one that has all the fingers open, the one in the middle. Please, do we see it?
Yeah.
As soon as you click on it, it will select everything. Everything will turn blue. And now we are going to duplicate it. So we duplicate it by using the radio next to the red car. When you hover over it, it says what? Duplicate objects. Do we see it?
Yes, please.
Click on it and then come and click on the shape. So you click and drag to create a new one. When you click and drag once, it will create a second one. Now, because all of them are selected, when you click and drag again, it will create 4. Sorry, it will create a new one, then another one, then another one. There's a tab that helps you to duplicate at multiple times. Okay, but please, do we see it?
Yes.
So we are creating 5. Right, so I'm doing 5. At this point, I think I need to change the orientation of. Please, if you make a mistake and you want to reverse, just do Control-Z on your keyboard and it will take you back. So always when you are duplicating, make sure that you click on the radio and then you click the model that has everything highlighted in blue. Don't click the one that the circles, some of them are black and only the arrows are blue. Right? You can only duplicate with the one that everything is blue. Please, does it make sense?
Yes.
Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We are with you.
Now, I know this is quite cumbersome, right? That's why we have the plugins. But in the event that you don't have the plugins, this is the only way to go. Right, so right now everything looks messy, right? But I want to separate them so that they can be able to stand on their own. So I'm going to change my interface again from A4 to landscape. I'm going to do landscape A4 so I can have more space to do what I'm doing. So I'm going to deselect them so that I can work on them individually. So by deselecting, I click on the hand that is a fist and everything will go back to normal. Please, can we see that?
Yes.
Now that everything is back to normal, I can work on them one after the other. So I'm going to move them out of the way one after the other and I'll rename them. So for the first one, I'm going to use the one that has the finger pointing to select the first variable. Now to select a variable to be able to move it as a whole, you have to be able to use its anchor points. The anchor points are the middle, the extreme left and the extreme right side. So we have to select everything in the middle, everything on the extreme left and everything on the extreme right so that we can move it intact. So I'm starting with this one, using the hand that has the single finger pointing. I'm selecting all the anchors like that. And then I'm going to use the car to move them out of the way so that they do not look so crowded, right? And then I'm going to rotate so that the items here will go to the other side. Good. Again, they are going off the page, so I have to move them back. So I'm going to select all the anchor points again to move them. There we go. Please, do we see that? So here I'm basically using the tabs that I've taught you about. The car for moving items, the single finger pointing from the hand to be able to select the anchor points, right? And then the circle with the red arrow to rotate the variables from one side to the other. So I'm going to do the same thing with the others so that they can be spread apart for what we are going to do. Okay, so here we go. All right, now to be able to move this variable closer to the others, we know that security and privacy is the only one that has 6 measurement items. The rest all have 4 and 5, right? The remaining 4, we have 2 with 5 measurement items and 2 with 4 measurement items. So I'm going to make sure that I name them and then delineate which variable is which based on the number of items that they have. So I'm starting from here. This is security and privacy. So I'm double clicking in the circle called security and privacy, and I'm going to name it sec PRI, representing security and privacy, so that I know that that is security and privacy and it has 6 items. Then I am going to go again and I'm going to do the same for the next variable, which is online repurchase intention, which has 4 items. So that means I have to delete 2 out of this to be left with 4. And I'm going to use the X, which is next to the car, to erase objects, right? When you have our it says erase objects. So I'm going to erase 2 objects from here. And then I'll be left with 4. Please, does it make sense?
Doc, we are following you perfectly.
Can you go over that thing again? I beg you.
What I said was that all the variables have a certain number of measurement items. So, and all of these variable templates that we have here have 6 items each. So we have to prune them to make sure that the template has the spaces relevant to the number of items that measure the variable in question. So for this one, security and privacy, there are 6 items. So we leave the 6 spaces intact. But here, okay, for online repurchase intention, there are only 4. So we have to delete the additional 2, right? So I'm naming it right now, online repurchase. So I know that is the one that I'm dealing with. And then I have to delete the additional spaces. And I use the X, which refers to erase objects, which is next to the moving red car.
Okay.
Good. So when you click on it, you come here and then you click on the variable. When you click it, it will disappear because you are deleting. Right? So I have deleted 4. I have deleted 2, remaining 4. Okay. Please, are you all with me?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Now you see, after deleting the others, the arrows look somewhat out of shape. So if you are obsessed with perfection and beautification like me, this tab is just for you. It's called the magic hand, and it is used to touch up your variables, right? Like the way a woman would say she's going to touch up her makeup. It's the same way we use this item to touch up our variables when they look like they are out of shape. So when I click on it and I click on this, it will put it into a presentable format, right? So right now you see the way the arrows are a mess. As soon as I click on it, it tries to make it look pretty. Please, you see? Please, have we seen that?
Let's do that again.
Yes.
So it was messy before. Then I used the magic hand that is supposed to touch up things and make them look pretty. And I clicked on it and I came to click on the variable, and then it simply did some beautification to it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, we've seen it.
Good.
We've seen it.
It's not impressive.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. It's a machine, so you still have to do some few things to it. Exactly. Right. All right. So we are going to do the same for the others, right? So the next one I'm going to do is order return and handling. Right. So let's do it on this one. So I'll make it return HAN. Okay. And return handling has 5 items. So that means we have to delete one. So we use the same procedure we used. We delete it. Now look at what has happened. You see, I deleted from the bottom. I don't know if you've noticed, but the variable templates that I deleted, right? The item template, sorry, that I deleted, had 1 on the arrow. Do you see that?
Yes, 1. There's 1 there, yes.
Good. Now that 1 represents a fixed regression weight. That corresponds to what we refer to as a marker variable, right? So a marker variable is like the star of the class. You know, usually when you are in school and then we have the high flying students, your parents will always tell you, look up to the best performing students in the class so that you can aim to become like them. Please do remember. That is the role the marker variable plays. All the other items take inspiration from the marker variable. So in Amos, you always need to make sure that when you delete the marker variable, you must replace it with another variable. Otherwise, when you run any analysis, it will not run because there is nobody to look up to for the other variables. Please, does it make sense?
Yes.
Yes, it makes sense.
Good.
No, please.
Who said no?
Please, it's Philomena. I didn't get that aspect.
What I
yes,
said
please.
was that you can see that from the other templates. There's 1 arrow, right? This is a reflective model, by the way. There's 1 arrow that has a 1 on it for all of the templates. Have you observed that?
Yes, please.
That 1 on that particular item is known as the marker variable. And the marker variable, like I said, behaves like the best student in your primary class that your mother was always telling you to look up to and learn from.
Okay.
So in Amos, there always has to be a marker variable for the other individual items to look up to. Otherwise, when you run your analysis, it will not run.
Okay.
And sometimes when we are pruning, you see that the marker variable has very low scores and we want to delete it. As soon as you delete it, you have to replace it. Otherwise, your analysis will not run. Please, does it make sense?
Yes,
yes.
please.
But
your hand is up.
Okay.
Yeah. Madam, so on what basis do you select or get the marker variable?
Okay, usually the marker variable is predetermined based on how you run the analysis. But technically, they are all supposed to be in the same class. So any variable can be the marker variable. Does it make sense?
Okay, so does it change for each researcher, or is, for example, if you and I have the same data set and you get your marker variable to be, let's say 1, will it be consistent throughout or to change?
It will be consistent throughout. What you start with is what you continue with, unless at some point in time, some parameter on that marker variable is bad. Like for instance, the factor loading is very low. It's less than 0.5 and you have to delete it. Then you have to delete it and replace it with another one.
Okay, so it depends on the loadings as well.
Good. Remember we talked about the fact that in a reflective model, everybody has the capability of representing the latent variable. Good. So you can replace anybody with anybody at any time. You can take anybody out. Unlike in the formative model where everybody has to be there.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome, Prince. So because we are deleting this, we have to replace the marker, right? So I'm deleting from the bottom. I'm left with 5, right? But I'm going to replace the marker variable. So I'll double click on the arrow up here, go to parameters, and then under regression weights, I'll enter 1. Please, have you seen that?
Yeah.
So you double click the arrow, the object properties will open, click parameters, come down to the regression weights box and put 1 in there and close. As soon as you do that, you'll see that you have a new marker variable. Please, does it make sense?
Yes, please.
Yes,
Good.
Doc.
So that variable is...
Doc.
Yes.
Sorry to add to. Must it always be at the tail end of the arrow? For instance, like, can you close this one for me? Close this one.
I should do what?
Close the small.
Just close the object.
Okay, yeah.
The small pop-up.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I was naming
just
it.
Close that
one.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was just saying that must it always be that variable we are talking about should be either on the first arrow or the last arrow. What about the middle? I didn't get what I'm saying.
It can be anywhere.
I'm saying it can be anywhere. Okay.
It can be anywhere, but for aesthetic purposes, right? Some of us are obsessed with aesthetics and neat presentation. I'd rather put it at a place where I can keep an eye on it. And sometimes when you're dealing with complex models, if you put it in the middle, there's so much going on that you can be able to miss its position. So you can put it anywhere.
Okay.
All right. You're welcome. So our two variables left are delivery condition, which also has 5 items. So I'm deleting from the bottom. I'll replace the marker variable, right? And then I will do delivery condition here, which is DC. The jelly con, there we go. And then I'm going to move it closer so that I can be able to push the other one up. So it's the same thing. I'm highlighting the anchors and I'm using the car to move it up. Then I deselect and then I go down there. So going down there, the only item we have left is timeliness. So I'm going to name it timely. And then after naming it timely, I'm going to delete the last 2 to be left with the 4 individual measurement items. And I've deleted my marker variable, so I have to replace it. So I go to object properties and the parameters, I enter 1, I have my marker variable. Then now I can move the whole thing up. Right, so we move it. Are we there?
Yes, we are following.
Good. So now that you've done that, you can do the beautification and everything. So you can see that all our variables are there now. Do we see it?
Yeah.
So now that they are all there, we have to replace the other part of the template. And that is where the list of variables in the data set comes in. Right, so we go and open that tab, list of variables in data set. Do you remember? You remember?
Yeah.
So we click on it and then the list of variables will open. Can we see it?
Yeah.
Are we there?
Yes.
So we are going to,
we can see it.
So we are going to click and drag one after the other. Right? So starting from security and privacy. So SP1, we click and drag, we put it in its box. SP2 in its box. SP3 in its box. SP4 in its box. SP5 in its box, SP6 in its box. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now we are going to do the same for all the others. So I'm going to move a bit fast. So technology, timeliness of delivery, TD1, TD2, TD3, and then TD4. Then security and privacy we've already done. Then order return. OR1, OR2, OR3, OR4, OR5. Then we go to delivery condition, DC. So DC1, DC2, DC3, DC4, and DC5, right? And then we go and do repurchase intention, which is the last one, RI1, RI2, RI3, and RI4. Please, are you with me?
Yes.
Have you done
Very
all
good.
that?
We are following.
Good. Now we are left with the little circles on the end. Now this is a very cumbersome process if you don't have the plugins, right? Because all that we are doing now, one plugin did everything for us. Do you remember?
Yes.
Aha. It did everything for us in CFA Model 1. But this one we have to do, having to do it from scratch, so it's taking more time, right? So after we've named these ones, we now have to name these little circles, and they represent the error terms. Because just like the traditional regression function, with every measurement, there's a degree of error. True or false?
Correct.
Good. So we have to provide for that bit of error in each of the measurement items. So we'll name each of these little circles using E and a number, right? So here, good. So here you are putting it in that box, right? Being E1. Do you see that? Under text, variable name E1. Then we have E2.
Wow.
You have to name them in succession, right? E3. Now this is the manual way, but there's a plugin that you can use to do it very easy, right? So this plugin is called Name Unobserved Variables. Okay. So when I click Name Unobserved Variables now, it will automatically name all of them for me, right? So I go to plugins, I click Name Unobserved Variables, and voila. It named everything for me. And it continued from where I stopped. You see?
Wow.
It continued from where I stopped. So that's the beauty of having the plugins. Like, they're life in time saver. But everything that can be done using the plugins can be done manually.
So, Doc, how do we get the plugin?
They are there. I can show you where to download them.
Manual labor.
Show us, we beg.
So you download and install.
Okay.
So I'll show you where to go and download them, right?
Let's go.
Okay. So now that we have understood the error terms, we know that SEM in Amos is covariance-based SEM, right? Hello, it's covariance-based SEM, right?
Yes.
And so therefore, as the name suggests, all the unobserved variables have to be covaried, right? So again, the covarying can be done either manually or using a plugin. Now, if you do it manually, it's very straightforward when you have few variables. But if you have plenty, it's very difficult to keep up. So I'm going to try and do it manually first for you to see, then we'll use the plugin. So this is the manual version. When you are covering, you use the double-headed arrow. Please, can you see that? So you click the double-headed arrow, and then you connect every variable to every other variable, right? So you take the variables one after the other. So I'm going to connect order return to all the other variables using the covering arrow like this. The order return to security and privacy. Order return to online repurchase intention. Order return to delivery condition, and then order return to timeliness of delivery. Then I do the same, delivery condition to security and privacy. Delivery condition to order return to online repurchase intention, and then timeliness to online repurchase intention. Then I do the same again, timeliness to security and privacy, and timeliness to online repurchase intention. Then the last two that are not covaried are security and privacy to online repurchase intention. Please, can we see that?
Yes, please.
Yes.
So all the items are covaried. Again, I'm going to use the magic wand to try and make this look somewhat. Okay, it looks better now. Right, so they are all covaried. However, alternatively, I could have just used the plugin to do it all. So let me show you how to use the plugin to do that. So I'm deleting all the arrows I just drew. And I'm just going to use the plugin to draw the covariances. So the plugin we use to do this is called Draw Covariances. Now, before you use the plugin, you need to tell Amos which variables you want to covary. So you use the single finger pointing to point to the variables that you want to covary. So I'm clicking on all of them one after the other. As you click, they are highlighted in blue. Then I deselect and go to plugins and then look for the plugin that says Draw Covariances. Then I click Draw Covariances and it automatically does it at one go. Please, can we see that?
Yes, please.
Hassle-free. So that's the beauty of having plugins.
And
right?
It is nice.
Is what?
It is nice.
Yeah, it's nicer than when you do it manually. I know.
Yeah.
So this is essentially our measurement model, right? Or the model that we are going to use to run our confirmatory factor analysis. So you can also call it your CFA model. So we can save this, right? So I'm going to save this and call it CFA manual model 1. So that we will be reminded of where we came from. Are we there? Okay, so I've saved it, right? So this is the one we did using the pattern matrix model builder. See how it has been done automatically and nicely. Please, can we see it?
Yes.
This is with just one plugin. Everything was done. And then this is what we managed to do manually. We've come a long way.
This is not funny.
What do you mean it's not 5?
The gap is too big.
This is somebody's best, right?
And how we sweat to come up with this.
Aha! And this is even when we have only 5 variables. Imagine you have a complex model with about 7 or 8 variables that have multiple items, right? For those of us who collect data with long questionnaires, we put all the variables in at the same time. You will suffer. It can take you days to manually draw it. So the plugins are important, right? So let me show you where to get the plugins. You can go to Start Wiki. Let me share my browser with you quickly and then. Let me see. I think so. Please, a moment. I'm trying to open a browser. Okay. All right. Right, so you can go to Start Wiki. Right, so this is Start Wiki. Please, can we see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's startwiki.colobcreations.com. So when you go there, you can see everything from home, forum, right? It is run by a researcher called James Gaskin. Right, so when you see Gaskin Nation, it is us, the members of the James Gaskin Fan Club, who are the Gaskin Nation people. So when you look here, you see plugins info. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Then under resources, you will see plugins and estimates. So when you click plugins and estimates, you see that the plugins and estimates will come up. It will show you the plugins for each version, right? So there are plugins for plugins for Amos version 23 or lower. That's why I told you guys that those who have version 23, it's okay, right? Remember I mentioned that.
Yes.
Yes,
Good.
Yes,
So there are plugins for version 23 and lower, right? And then plugins for version 24 or higher, and then plugins for version 26 or higher. So depending on the version that you have, you can download the plugins that will work on your system. Right. So Start Wiki is where you can find the plugins. And when you go to plugins info, I think he gives some guidelines on how to install the plugins. Right. And there's some YouTube videos to guide you. So the ball is in your court. You can try your hands at it. Right. Okay. So are we good?
Yes, please.
So now we have a measurement model, right? A CFA model that we can use. So now should we try and run our first CFA analysis?
Yes, Doc. Let's try our hands on it.
Good. So now the model is here, right? We are going to try and run it. Now you can see that where we selected the data file, there are 2 keyboards next to it. Please, can we see that?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
One keyboard has some colored boxes on it. When you hover over it, it says analysis properties. That is where you determine what kind of analysis should be run on whatever model it is that you have drawn. So we click on analysis properties. And here you can see that some of the things have been pre-selected, right? Just like in SPSS. So under estimation here, what has been selected? Under discrepancy, what do you see?
Maximum likelihood.
Maximum likelihood. That's why in SPSS, we selected the maximum likelihood extraction, right? And then other things also have been checked on the page, including the fit, the saturated, and independence model. So we don't need anything here. The next place we are interested in is the output tab. Can we see that?
Yeah.
Good. So under the output tab, these are the items that we are going to check. First, we need the standardized estimates. Then we need the squared multiple correlations, or the R-squared values. Then we need the factor score weights. Then we need the covariances of the estimates. Then we need the correlations of the estimates. Then we need, most importantly, the modification indices, right, which we are going to use for pruning. Because even though the factor loadings are the starting points for modification and pruning, we need the modification indices to help us when we have exhausted all our options using the factor loadings. And when we have exhausted all our options, is where we see that all the factor loadings are 0.5 and above, but still certain parameters are not being met. Now, the parameters that are not being met include the fit indices, right? And then the tests for the composite reliability and the AVEs, which help us to test for internal consistency or reliability, and then convergent validity. So we are using an incremental approach, right? Just like the two-step approach teaches us, that we are running the CFA model and we are first testing for reliability, then we will test for convergent validity before we go ahead and test for discriminant validity. So until our model has satisfied the criteria for reliability and convergent validity, we can't go ahead and test for discriminant validity. Please, do you all understand? Please, do we understand?
Yes, please.
Good. Good. So after we have checked these things, we just close the box. And then we go and click on the other piano keyboard, the one next to it. Please, can we see it?
Yes.
So we click on it. And it will start doing things and start running the stuff. And then it looks like nothing has happened, right?
Things are happening.
Good. Now look up there. You see some red arrow has been activated.
Yes.
Yes.
Click on it and see what will happen.
Wait.
Have you seen it? So these are unstandardized estimates, right? But we work with the standardized estimates. So look in the tabs under the red arrow. You see group number, OK default model. Then you come to unstandardized estimates and standardized estimates. You see it?
Okay.
Yes.
Now click standardized estimates. It looks cleaner, right? Very neat.
Okay, wow.
Right? But here we can't see at a glance the work that we need to do in terms of pruning and modification. So we need to go to the outputs tab. So do you see where we have the piano keys?
Yes.
On the level right beneath them, we have a clipboard and then another lotto paper and then a diskette. Do you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Click on the lotto paper. Another window opens. What window just opened? Have you seen the window that opened?
Amos output.
Amos output.
Amos output. Good. Right. So currently that is where we are taking our matters for pruning purposes. So over there, you see that a tab has been highlighted called Notes for Model. Do you see that?
Yes.
And underneath it, there is Estimates. Click on Estimates. As soon as you click on the estimate, you see a number of tables on the right-hand side. Do you see them?
Yes.
So the first table stands for regression weights, right? Which show us the T values and the significance for each of the individual items minus the class prefix. Do you see the marker variable? The marker variable has no P value. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And its estimate is 1 because it is the class prefix. It is perfect. So it doesn't have any t-values, but all the others do. And here we are looking for those measurement items that are significant. Can we see that?
Yeah, does the 3 stars means they are significant?
I taught you about p-values the other day. 1 star represents what?
Yeah.
A p-value of what?
10%.
Hey! 10% is 0.1. That one is a plus sign. I didn't teach you the plus sign. I taught you 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. So 1 star represents a p-value of what? Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't get it, we are not moving.
0.05.
5%.
0.05. Then 2 stars is what?
5%.
1%.
Good. Then 3 stars is what?
1%.
0.001.
Which is 0.1%.
0.1%.
Yes.
Good. So this one is significant at 0.1%, which is very strong, meaning that the items we have are very good measures of the variables. Are you there?
Yes.
Good.
0.05.
Right? So here, this table does not tell us anything that we need to cut out. Right? So let's go to the standardized regression weights. The standardized regression weights here refer to the factor loadings. Okay? And what did we say the factor loadings should be? What did we say the factor loading should be?
About 0.5.
Above 0.5, good. So here we are looking for the ones that are below 0.5. Is there any factor loading that is below 0.5 here?
No.
Okay, so that means that on the surface, everything looks good. But we cannot confirm unless we see our model fit indices. Are you there?
Please, I'm in a class, please.
Yes, please.
Good. So let's go and look at our model fit indices and see if indeed everything looks okay. Because on the surface, things can be misleading, right? Everything here looks kind of perfect, but we are not convinced. We need to go to the next level of analysis to see what is happening. So where we clicked on the estimates, when you go there and you scroll down, you see model fit. You see that?
Yes.
Click on model fit.
Yes.
And it will open another set of tables. Do we see that?
Yes.
Now we are going to analyze the model fit indices starting from the top. Remember in explaining the fit indices to you, I told you that we can use one option from the absolute fit and then several from the predictive fit. And then if you like, you can choose not to use anything from the parsimonious fit, right? And then we can also use the Ramsey or the RMSEA, root mean square error of approximation. So we'll start from the top. The absolute fit index we are using is the chi-square and the chi-square degrees of freedom ratio. Do you remember? Do you remember Schreiber 2008? Do you remember?
Yes.
What did we say the chi-square degrees of freedom ratio should be? Chi-square degrees of freedom ratio, what did we say it should be? Ladies and gentlemen, you have to be revising before you come to class, because it is the rules and regulations, right, and the thresholds that have been stipulated in literature that guide what we do in the software. So if you don't understand what you are doing, it will be the giggle effect, garbage in, garbage out. So you need to know the premise of what you are doing to be able to use the software appropriately to achieve that objective. Grace, what did we say the chi-square degrees of freedom ratio should be?
Less than or equal to 2 or 3.
Good. So at this point, we are pushing it. It's too high. Right? Again, when we look at our comparative fit indices, right? Look at them. The IFI, we said it should be what? What did we say the IFI should be? What's the threshold for IFI? Hello. Threshold for incremental fit index, Schreiber 2008.
Less than or equal to 0.
Less than or equal to 0. What?
Oh, 0.2.
0.95.
Oh.
Please, where did you get a 0.2 from? This is serious.
0.95.
0.95.
No, 0.95, dog.
Yes.
0.95, sorry.
What about the TLI, the Tucker-Lewis index?
That's 0.9.
What? Portia, yes.
29.
Yes, Portia. Okay. TLI, what's the cutoff point?
0.95.
0.95. The same for the comparative fit index, CFI, right? What about the Ramsey, RMSEA, root mean squared error of approximation? What's the cutoff point for that one? What's the cutoff point?
Okay.
Schreiber 2008. It's all there. Where is the cutoff point? Hello?
0.06.
0.06. So anywhere between 0.06 and 0.08 is cool. But currently we are pushing it because we are at 0.1 or 0.11 if we are doing 2 decimal places, right? So that is not good. So we need to go and prune our model to make sure that it satisfies the criteria with regard to model fit. And the only way we can do so is to look at the modification indices. So we go to where we saw the estimates. Directly under the estimates, we can see modification indices. Please, can we see that? Click on it. As soon as you do, it opens another table, right? A very long one. You see?
Yeah.
Good. Now, under the column MI, you can see certain figures. Some are very big and some are very small. Now, these are the figures that we use to do the pruning and the model modification. So we start by deleting one path at a time. The path that leads, the path that connects the two variables that have been indicated, right? From the largest MI to the smallest. So let's scroll through the MI column. Which MI is the largest? MI here referring to modification index. Which one is the highest? I see 63.
Yes.
I see 32, 36, 34. Okay, it seems the 63 is the highest, right?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes, please.
And it is between E23 and E24, right?
Yes.
So we go back to our model and delete the path between E23 and E24 as follows. Can we see the model?
Yes, please.
So let's go back to the gray arrow. Do you see the gray arrow that is coming down next to the red arrow?
Yes.
We click on that to take us to our workspace. So when you click on it, you see all the small numbers will disappear, right? Have you seen that?
Yes.
So what variables are we deleting? The relationship that is causing that high modification index of 63 is between E23 and E24. So one of them has got to go. So which one should we delete? I personally like deleting from the bottom.
E24.
Yeah, so I'll delete E24, right? So we delete that path and then we run the analysis again. Now let me sound this word of caution. Never delete more than one item or one path at a time. I take it again. Never delete more than one item or one path at a time, because you need to be able to see the effect of deleting each individual path or item that you delete to be able to determine the next course of action. So if you delete more than one, you will not be able to objectively determine which one caused the change. And you will not know which one to reverse. This doesn't make sense.
Yes.
So we only delete one path at a time. So you delete the path and then you rerun. You go back to look at the result, see if it has improved. If it has not improved, you go back to the modification indices and you check for the highest and you go and delete that one as well. So it's a back and forth iterative process until you arrive by good fit indices for the model. Please, does it make sense?
Yes.
So now we've deleted E24. We are going to run it again and see what the output will give us. So we click the piano board, it runs, it finishes running, then we go to the estimates again, right, where we have the outputs. Okay, please, can we see the outputs?
Yes, please.
Good. Now let's go ahead and look at what the model fit is looking at like. Okay, there's been a slight change. Please, can we see it? Can we see the change?
Yes.
After deleting the path, what happened? Our chi-square is better. From 3.6, it is down to 3.1. 3. Please, do we see that? Hello? Hello?
Hi. Hi.
Okay. Okay, so our chi-square has improved, right?
Yes.
And our IFI and TLI and CFI have also improved, but they've not come up to the level we are looking for. Our Ramsey is still at the same 0.1, which is not good. So we still have to do more pruning. So back to the modification indices, right? We are looking for the largest number. I can see the 32, 36, 25, 26, 24, 23. Okay, so it seems 36 is now the largest, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it is between E12 and E15.
Yeah.
So let's go back to our interface and then see which one we are going to eliminate between E12 and E15. Which one should go? E12 is the marker variable under repurchase intention, right? So it will be better to delete E15.
Yeah.
Good. So let's delete E15 and then rerun and see what will happen. So we rerun. Go back to the estimates and see what is happening to our model fits. Are we there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The chi-square degrees of freedom ratio has become better again. Please, do we see that?
Yes, please.
Good, but it's still not good enough.
Yes, please.
Our IFI has improved, TLI has improved, CFI has improved, our Ramsey has improved a bit. It's now 0.098, but it's still very, very high. So within the range that we need. So we need to go back again and do the same thing that we did initially. So please, here, I'm going to just be going back and forth until I get the model fit indices to be correct, and then we continue, right?
Okay.
So please just observe with me, and then let's go. So I'm going back to modification indices. And here, the next largest number is, I see 27. No, there's a 33. Between E16 and E17, yeah. So I'm going to E16 and E17, and I'm going to delete one of them. So between E16 and E17.
E17 must go.
Yeah, but E17, though, when you look at the modification indices, E17 is not causing as much trouble as E16. Let me show you. Look at the modification indices. You see E16.
Yes.
It's causing more trouble than E17. E17 is appearing only once. Do you see that?
Yes.
So we will benefit more from eliminating E16 than eliminating E17. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
makes sense.
So let's eliminate E16. Even though it's a marker variable, we will replace it with E17. So I'm eliminating E16 and I'm creating a new marker variable to replace it since it was a marker variable. Then we run, then we go back to the estimates. And we look at the model fit. Okay, still going down, not where it's supposed to be yet. So we keep repeating the same thing, right? So back to modification indices. The next highest one we are seeing is 25. Or no, 26, sorry. Between E2 and E5. It seems here E2 is more of a troublemaker than E5, right? Yeah. So E2 has got to go. So bye-bye E2, we run again. So please, it's not a straightforward process. As you can see, it is a painstaking, time-consuming, scientific, methodological process, right? So back to the estimates again to see what is going on. Prince, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Madam, so I wanted to ask, don't we have an alternative way of going about this? Assuming I have variables or hinder variables, what happens then?
For this one, you have to go through it step by step. For the modification and the pruning, you have to do it one after the other.
Even if there are 100 variables, have to go through.
You have to go through one by one. There's no plugin for that because it is a scientific and theoretical process as well. You can't just delete willy-nilly, right? Okay. And we are trimming because we are looking out for those items that are not good measures of the variables that we have. Because if we don't trim them out, they will affect the reliability and validity of the outcomes that we get based on our analysis. So we have to prune out the chaff. And as you will learn very soon, once we finish the pruning, the variables that we have left over, we put them together into a composite and they become the construct that we are interested in. So the pruning and modification stage is very, very, very important. I can't emphasize how important it is.
Yeah, Madam, please, do you have to indicate the number of variables you have pruned in the process?
Yes, you indicate
it. You just have to.
You indicate it in your thesis. You tell us how many variables you started with, how many were eliminated, and then the ones that are left over will appear in your psychometric properties table. So you have to say it. That's why I said it's a scientific process. Because you add your questionnaire to your thesis. So your questionnaire will tell us how many variables you had in total. So in discussing your analysis, you tell us how many variables you started with, the analysis that you ran. And then once you eliminated, and you tell us why you eliminated them, mostly because they did not meet the criteria or they had low factor loadings or they had high modification indices which affected their reliability and validity. So you had to eliminate them. But you have to mention that in your thesis. We don't mention them in articles because articles, you don't have that number of words to say all those things. But when we look at the items that you have in the table, we can immediately tell how many items you started with and how many you have ended up with. So I hope that answers your question, Prince.
Yes, please. Yeah, it does.
Okay. I think there was another question like that in the chat. Yeah, Theodora said, what accounts for having to trim out so many indicators? Theodora, I hope your question has been answered.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to do the final trimming very quickly for us to get to where we have to get to in terms of the model fits. Then we can call it a day. Okay. So quickly, down to the modification indices. When we check the modification indices, the next highest figure we have is a 24, and it's between E9 and E12. Looking at E9 and E12, E9 is more of a troublemaker than E12. So E9 has got to go. So I'm going to prune E9, and then I'm going to rerun the model and see what happens. So E9 is here. I run it. I go back to the estimates. I check my model fit. Chi-square degrees of freedom 2.6. These ones are coming up. They are almost at the 0.95 mark. This one is at 0.087, which is very borderline, cutting it really close. So I need to remove another variable. Okay. So here, the highest we have now is 18, and it's between E1 and one of our constructs. So that means E1 is what has got to go. So I'm going to eliminate E1. So here E1 is gone, and E1 is a marker variable. So I have to replace it with another variable. So I'm replacing it with E3. And then I'm going to run again. And then after running it, I go to my estimates and I see whether my model fit indices are in line. Right? Okay, still, TLI has a bit of a ways to go. The chi-square degrees of freedom ratio is still 2.6. That's cutting it close. The Ramsey has no budged. It's still at 0.087, which is still borderline. So again, modification indices to see who we can eliminate to help us. So we have E4 and E12. Between E4 and E12, E4 is more of a troublemaker. So I'm going to eliminate E4.
But Doc, there's 20.85.
Okay, hold on.
Let's go back, I think.
Yeah.
There's 20.85, so we could have
20.8, okay, good. So that's E5 and E18. And 18, E5 is more of the troublemaker here. Okay, yeah. So E5 has got to go. Thank you for drawing my attention. See, you're paying attention now. I'm glad you get it. So E5 is going. By E5. Right, then we run again. Then we go to our estimates and see how far God has brought us. Model fits 2.3, 0.95, 0.95 if you approximate, 0.96, 0.08. Okay, if we like, we can stop here. You agree?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Not bad, not bad.
So we have satisfied model fits. Wow, that was a lot.
Yeah.
So this is how far we have come, ladies and gentlemen. It took a lot of work, but we've made it. But the pruning is not even over yet, right? Because we have not tested for the CR value, which is the composite reliability. And then we have also not tested for the AVE, which is the average variance extracted, right? Hello.
Silence is the answer.
Why do you say silence is the answer? Are you confused or it's a lot for you?
Over.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Right? So if someone goes through all this and comes out with a publication, don't they deserve a Nobel Peace Prize?
Hello, Doc.
Yes, please go ahead.
You shall be wrong.
If you want your professorship, please go ahead. Hello, was it Portia?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doc, please, just some clarification.
Yeah.
Deleted the 20. Some numbers were deleted before 20, which was less than the 20. Was deleted, assuming that those numbers were seen before the 20. Wouldn't it have an effect on it before deleting those numbers?
Those numbers were not there before the 20.
You deleted those numbers before seeing the 20.
Portia, hold on. Hold on. Yeah, let me explain to you.
Portia should just, there's a radio behind Portia, I don't know. It's giving us some bad.
So Portia, as you delete parts, right, the modification indices change. So when you take out a path, the entire model reorients itself and reestablishes its relationship with the relationships between all the items in it.
Okay.
So that is why I advise that you cannot delete more than one path at a time. Okay. Otherwise, the change will be so drastic that you cannot determine what you changed, what you did that caused that huge change.
Okay.
So So sometimes there's a path that you will prune, and instead of it reducing the modification indices, will rather make the modification indices jump higher. So perhaps you had a 63 and then you deleted that path and you thought it will reduce it, and then perhaps the higher parts will go down. But in actual fact, you come back and you, instead of having just a 63, you had an 80 something. Then you quickly go back and you replace that path because you realize that it was wrong to eliminate that path. Does it make sense?
Yes, Doc.
That's why every time we rerun the model, we come back and we look at the modification indices again. Because the moment, as soon as you delete a path and you rerun, the software will re-establish the relationship between all the items in the model. And therefore will give you a fresh set of modification indices. I hope that is clear now, Portia.
Yes, Doc.
Good. So now we have been able to achieve model fit. In fact, I want to go back and delete one more part so I'll get perfect fit across. Now you see, look at what has happened to the modification indices. Do you see now? Do you see? After the last one we ran, you see how short the table has become. And now the highest modification index we have here is 17 between E10 and E11.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so I'm going to delete one more. Between E10 and E11, I believe E10 is more of a troublemaker because of the 17. So I'm going to go back to the model and delete
E11.
Yeah, look from the left side. Read from the variable on the left side. Read from here.
Okay. Okay.
You see, E10 appears more times than E11.
Yes,
right?
that's true.
Good.
Yes.
So I'm going to eliminate E10. Where is E10? Good. So E10 is gone. And we rerun. Then we go back to our outputs. Where is the output? I can't find it. Okay, let me open it first. I think I closed it. Okay. So there it is. And then model fits. Oh, wow. Please, do you see that? Now all the comparative fit indices have crossed the 0.95. Right? The chi-square degrees of freedom ratio is now 2.2. And then the Ramsey is now 0.075, right? So still around 0.08, which is accepted. Right? So our fit indices are good now. So now the next stage is to go ahead and test for the composite reliability and average variance extracted, which will help us to be able to establish higher order reliability of the model. Please, are we okay?
Yes, please.
So in today's session, we have basically been able to specify the measurement model. We have done pruning and modification, and we have been able to assess model fit using the model fit indices. So now the next stage is to assess reliability and convergent validity using the composite reliability or CR value and the AVE or the average variance extracted value. So we'll pick up from that point next week.
Thank you.
On that note, we are calling it a day.
Yeah.
We need to catch up within the week.
Rest.
Yeah. Someone is asking, Roxanne, you said getting this recording by tomorrow. Yes, please go ahead.
That is our point. That is our point. Please.
We'll do some of good because some of us had challenges accessing the data initially. Okay. We make good rehearsal with that. Thank you for the good delivery and patience. Oh, my pleasure. You're welcome. Eric, you say marathon. The marathon has just begun. Right? But once you get the hang of it, you can do it very fast. Right? So maximum within a week, you can complete a whole analysis. When you pull a few all-nighters in between, like 2 or 3 of the days, you do some all-nighters, you'll be good. So I'll do my best to get you the recording by tomorrow.
Yes, and the other one.
Which one? I haven't given you the first one.
No.
Oh, I haven't.
No.
Sorry.
No, please.
Sorry.
And the slides.
The slides, I've shared it.
The slides are in.
The slides I've shared it.
Yes, you have shared the slides. Yes.
Yeah. So it's up with the recording. So I'll get the recording to you. And Estina, your hand is up. Please quickly so that you guys can go and rest. Yes.
I want to find out how you can get copy of your book.
How you what?
I can get copy of your book.
There are copies at Kingdom Bookshop on campus.
Okay.
Yes. So when you go to campus, it's there. You will see the first edition and the second edition. The second edition is the newest one. That one has HTML and everything in it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I will do my best to get you the recordings so that you can practice, and then next week we can meet and then pick up from where we left off, right? I wish you all the best. Don't panic. It's a long, tedious process, but it's fun. Imagine you finish going through this process and you have a set of analysis that you can put literature to and actually produce a paper out of. It's very exciting, right? And I'm looking forward to hearing about the collaborations you guys want us to do after this. I really want people calling me and say, Doc, let's do some paper together. Let's collaborate. I'm excited for that. So I'm not thinking about the demand involved. I'm just believing God that by the end of the process, you will all get it. And then we can look ahead to better days. Okay. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Right. I'll get the stuff to you so that you can practice. And God willing, next week we'll pick up where we left off. God be with you all. Have a lovely evening.
All right.
Yes, so bye.
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 Goodbye.